it's been said that the government has failed on its mandate, thereby creating loopholes where civilians are now being reduced to seeking even security, private security, in the name of goons. And among other challenges that are socially we are facing during this electoral cycle. Do you hold the same opinion that the mandate that should be discharged by the government, especially the institutions, the agencies, has been relegated to a level of dissatisfaction where Kenyans are feeling there are some measures we need to start taking ourselves? And in assuming those measures and responsibilities, now we are creating risk factors for the rest of us.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
And thank you for having me on SpiceFM. I think that, as you all know, that the primary responsibility of any government is to protect life and property. And it is not different for this administration. This administration has been there for 4 years now. And you remember, in the past administrations, we had issues of terror attacks in the country. There is no government, no administration that has been able to contain that for the last 10 years, even during the Kibaki era. I believe that the issue of the culture of Goonship in Kenya is not an issue that is only to be blamed on one political divide. I think it's a whole Kenya's political ecosystem problem, which requires everyone in whichever capacity that they are, when they champion and canvass in their politics, to know that we must tackle this issue together and find a solution to it. There is no provision in the law for the citizens themselves to come out and protect themselves. And where we always have a problem is getting the difference between the definition of who is a goon and who is a supporter. Because if you remember the time when we had the Gen Z protest, for instance, there were a lot of cases where the police were accused of victimizing the young people and even hurting them because they are coming out aggressively to make certain chants and even sometimes throw stones as police officers. And as citizens of this country, we must agree that we have first to accept that every other person in this country will not come out to protect anybody when the police and the security agencies decide to take action against this. When someone is arrested in this country, for instance, and they are taken to a police station because of issues of hooliganism, sometimes because of politics, you will find the whole civil society, the whole political class coming out, guns blazing, saying, you're jailing our people. These are citizens. And the other day, the president actually asked the Kenyans, and he spoke to parents. He asked parents, when we decide to deal decisively with these youths who are being used and arrest them, will you come out and say that these are our children and they should not be touched?
But Ngunjiri, even while that is an argument that one would make, there is equally the aspect that the government itself is seen as the chief perpetrator and perpetuator of Goonism in the country. Because if we still go back to 2024, the first few days of the protest were peaceful, we were leaderless and everything else. But as it progressed, we now saw individuals in civilian clothing with batons, not police officers, walking side by side by police officers. We saw Kenyans themselves coming out say, because police officers will not protect our businesses, we will take the responsibility of protecting our businesses because the police have failed to do that. So one then asks the question, is it an argument as well that government has failed to provide security to Wananchi?
The government is providing adequate security to Wananchi, and that is why we are having the conversation of how, as a people, we must deal with this Goonship issue. But you know, the challenge that I think our police officers face is because the issue of activism in Kenya and people politicizing everything has actually taken over and overshadowed the legitimate cause of dealing with Goonism. And I agree. I come from the UDA party, for instance. There are politicians within the UDA party who have previously been seen to be working in a cohort with young people who have caused mayhem. The opposition also, parties, DCP, we have also seen politicians also being seen with young people, goons, in political rallies. Just the other day, even in Homa Bay, you saw James Orengo. So it is not an issue that is only unique to government. But, you know, it starts with us accepting that this is a problem. And because it is a problem, let us differentiate between pointing fingers and actually coming out to offer solutions and making sure that everybody comes out and speaks against the culture of Goonship.